Hi, everyone. I'm going to test the audio on my end. Wait for some of you guys to get in here. I am so happy to be here today. Hi, everyone. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay, I'll wait for you guys to get the notification. Come on in. Come on in. There's lots to talk about today. I'm going to wait for you guys to come in here while I prepare. It's going to be a very powerful video today. You do not want to miss this video. Guys, when you come in, please make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. And if YouTube has unsubscribed you, resubscribe yourself, please. And click on all notification bells. And please like the video. We're all actors on the world stage. Time to take a bow because the reset is here. In fact, I'm already in the new timeline, and this is what we're going to talk about and how you guys will spot it and how we can spot the ending of the old timeline, which we can thank Candace Owens for that. And if she can't make this thing even more clear than what she's already made it, this is in fact, the ending of one timeline and the beginning of, the loop back around. So this is what we're going to talk about. And then we're going to go into some spiritual technology on literally how are we going to get to the evolution, right? Not just the evolution as a human, the evolution as a soul. This is what we need to talk about because we are now out of the loop. Now that we spotted the loop, we're out. What do we do now, right? This is what we're going to talk about. Very interesting. Let's see if you guys have received any of my notifications, because there's normally a lot more of you guys in here, and I can already tell, YouTube is doing what YouTube does. So I'll continue to wait to see if some of you guys come in here. If not, I'm just gonna start the video, and we're gonna start channeling. It's gonna be very, very powerful. So I'm just gonna get into the vibration now while I wait for you guys to come in. And like always, guys, if there's any problem with the audio or anything, then just let me know. We'll take care of that, okay? So I'm gonna start some channeling so we can see where Source wants us to start with this very powerful message about the reset. Okay. I think I know where I need to be. I think I know where where we need to start, where the messages are gonna start to come in at. Still waiting for some of you guys to come in here. So I'll just be in my vibe until we get some of you guys in here. Let me go ahead and clear some of that stagnation in the YouTube energy field. Bring you guys up in here. I'm not even gonna watch this chat. I'm telling you, I feel like something very powerful is about to happen. So I'm just gonna zone out, and we're just gonna vibe. If you come in, you come in. If you don't, then you can catch it on the replay. Let me ground into the energies that's here. Okay, there's already some messages coming in. I'll wait for some of you guys to come in. Source is given reference to a master key. Okay, we're going to talk about this. So first and foremost, let me formally welcome all of you guys here, all of you wonderful people. Thank you for being here with me and rocking with me for all this time. I really do appreciate it. My name is Tahira mother of the ages. I'm a supernatural quantum healer, a psychic investigator, and I'm a channeler of the omniverse. I channel source energy God, right? So here on this channel, we talk about source God. And what that is, it is literally the creator of all things. It is the, before anything became into physicality, it is the source that everything emanates from, which is the vibration. The vibration literally set forth the codes in the mathematical equation to even birth anything in creation. And yes, even God's, right? So source is supreme and God is good, okay? So this is what we're going to talk about. Welcome in, Amy. Welcome in, Sue. Good evening, good evening. Got the notification. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Few things popping up here today that we need to talk about. We're all actors. It's not just the Charlie Kirks and the Trumps and all these celebrities that are actors on the world stage. You are an actor too. And so this is what we need to talk about, because if you don't know you're also on the world stage and you don't know the character that you were to play, and you don't know when it's time to literally take the bow, you know, literally time to end the scene and scene. If you know, then you know. It's time to literally take your final bow because the reset is here. This is what we need to talk about. And there's some messages coming in from sources talking about us having a master key. And I think it's given reference to the chosen ones. We have a master key, right? And a master key, if you think about a master key, if you think about getting locked out of your house, right? Or out of your apartment, and you've lost your key, you can't find it anywhere. But if you were to go to the office, they will always have a master key so that you could get in, so you don't have to sleep outside. This is what Source is saying. Literally, the ones of us who understand this game, who understand that it's the final scene and the reset, in order to move into the new age correctly, you must have the master key. And I'm going to give you guys, well, Source is going to flow the message through me today so that we can understand what we're looking for. You're going to need a master key. And what this means is no other keys is going to work. All the other keys will fail. At the end of this age portal, every key will fail. I don't care if you've paid up your rent or your mortgage for a year. I don't care how many copies you made of the key. Only the master key will work. And if you are a chosen one, if you are connected directly to Source, if Source is your sustenance, you will have a master key. I don't care how much people have. The great equalizer, guys, is here. I don't care about the millionaires and the billionaires. I don't care. Unless you have the master key, you will not move forward. You will not collect $200, right? Like Monopoly. You must have a master key. This is what we're going to talk about. So let me recap this, guys. About last week, I told you guys, Charlie and Candace Owens were sending out the last smoke signal. And remember, I called this when they messed around with Kate Middleton's consciousness. And like, people were wondering, why should we care about this? I said, because if they can get away with this, changing Kate Middleton right before our eyes, if they can get away with cloning her, the Katie clone 3.0, if they can get away with that, who's to say that they won't do it to someone else? And look, it has happened. Because we've been tracking this whole Charlie Kirk thing, and we understand that, yes, he didn't die that day, but then we understand that they also have siphoned his consciousness, and his consciousness is going into another body. This is what these people have done throughout history, and we've been on a perpetual loop because long time ago, eons ago, 3 eons ago, someone made a copy of our 144,000 rhythmic light codes. These are your source codes, right? This is part of the junk DNA that they cannot enter. So the rules of engagement in this matrix is you are a spark soul from the cosmos. And so they have to use you because you came from source energy God. You have a soul and you have spirit consciousness. They use you to plug into this world stage because you are their windmill. that is producing all of the true energetic currency. They don't have it because they were not birthed from soul and of spirit. They did not come from source. They are recycled beings that refuse to die. They refuse to lose power. And so therefore, we're kind of put inside of these bodies so that they can generate enough power, enough sustenance for them to siphon off of us. And these would be the reptilians that I am talking about. This is who we see on the world stage. But I was talking to Source, and Source also wants us to know that every single person is also on the world stage, because none of this is real. But are you an extra in someone else's stage play? Or do you have a main leading role? Do you have are you the breakout character? Are you the hero? Are you the martyr? What role are you playing? I am so serious right now. I want you guys to sit with that. And I'm going to tell you what role I was playing and why I switched, because of the things that Source was telling me. You guys know I work with templates. And one of the templates, as I work under the spiritual name Mother of the Ages, I literally hold collective templates. And what this means is I will incarnate in a 300-year cusp period as we are moving from one age to the next. And what I do within this 300-year period is I help the earth people, the earth children, to close out the collective cycles, to close the stage play down. So by that, I have to have every record. When this thing happened with Charlie Kirk, it was almost given like, am I making this happen simply because I had all the records? And I've spoke to other people who have the source codes. They also feel like, wow, am I speaking these things into existence? I'm like, no, you hold the collective codes. Therefore, even on a subconscious level, you already know what's going to happen. And that's, some of you are holding the collective codes. Like if you just have this keen discernment, this awareness that you just know what happens before it happens, it's because you also hold this within you. And you might also be like me, a soul that comes down during the ending of the age to close out these collective cycles. And so therefore I have access to every role and every script. And what my soul has been doing for a very long time is playing the martyr, right? And this is why I always resonated with the Christ, with the one they call Yeshua, Jesus. I always resonated with this energy. I channeled a book about it. You can pick up The Great Expansion, Cosmic Bible for the Ages. This does it. I channel 5 members of Source. The Christ is one of them. And so he actually shows up as my cosmic brother. And this is why I always resonated with that energy, because in a lot of ways, I don't feel that there's a separation between us. In a lot of ways, I feel that I have been in that role as well for a very long time. And it wasn't until, a friend of mine kind of stepped in, who also holds these collective templates and codes, and was like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to martyr yourself. You don't have to die for the collective, because at a point, I thought I did. And what Source has made me to understand is that that's a character role that I was playing and that I got very comfortable with, the martyr. Some of you guys have the character roles that you play and that you've been comfortable with. And so you repeat it. Sometimes we repeat it simply because the work is not complete. And sometimes we repeat it because we are on a perpetual loop, the loop that I've been talking about. But here on this channel, we are getting out of the loop because we have spotted the beginning and the end, right? And so now when we see the Candace Owens of the world, she's continuing on the path, whether she knows it or not. She's in the process of looping humanity back around. I was told to pivot, not to say I won't go back to that, but right now I have to pivot us because we can't get consumed and be recycled energy again. This time on this channel, we are getting free. And what that means is after we take this vow, we enter into this space, this very beautiful space where we have the access to the master key. People still listening to, to the prophets of the world, and even to the leaders and then the presidents and all of these people, the celebrities. You don't have the master key. You're still in a servant posture. We can't take that position. So we're ending the loop. We're taking a vow. We are getting access to the master key. And this is going to be the great equalizer, because it does not matter what you had before, what you had accumulated. None of those old keys are going to work. I don't care if you are a billionaire. Those old codes will not work. You will see people lose billions. You will see people lose millions. You will see people who had nothing that will come into this wealth. And people will wonder how that is. It's because we're moving into a space where you must have the master key. And this is a very important message. And so it just goes to show you that how many people were on the lives when they just wanted to get their ears tickled. They wanted to hear about where's Charlie Kirk, right? They wanted to hear about Candace Owens. They wanted to be nosy. But now we're the real sustenance. You see how Source does it? Those people ain't getting the master key. They're not about to get the master key that leads to the wealth transfer, because you must have the source codes in order to receive what is coming. Certain people are purposely being blotted out because they didn't understand that they're also an actor on the world stage. So I want you to identify the role that you've been playing. And once you identify that and you say to yourself, how do I want to end this stage play? Well, one thing I can tell you is that I feel like I'm ahead of schedule. As you know, we have roughly, it's almost the end of the year, meaning the end of the year, the 9. And then next year we move into a 1 vibration again, a new beginning. This is what I'm saying. You must identify the role that you've played on this world stage. And even if it's an extra, meaning that your life has been dictated by everyone around you and even influenced by the people that they told us to look up to, I want you to write the most epic line. You will not be an extra moving forward. You're about to have a master key given to you by the master design, the Christ vibration, source energy God. This is where the master key comes from. You can't fake it. You can't put your name on a list. There's nothing that you could have done to even, persuade anyone to have it. It is given to you by the soul. By literally you understanding and getting out of the loop. Where we're going, guys, is not a place that we've been. I've been saying this before. Where we are about to go, we've never been there because we've always been looped. Since the inception of this humanity, we have been on a loop. I feel so blessed. I am filled with so much gratitude and thanks to the Most High, to Source Energy, for allowing me to see the tear in the system so that I can also show it to you guys so that we can move to higher ground. This is what it talks about when you flee to the mountains. What does that truly mean? You have to flee to higher consciousness. I even talk about this in the Great Expansion in the book, is that the mountains are stuck, dried God energy. We've always had people to come here. We've always had these archetypal figures that would come here to awaken humanity, to put us back on the original vibratory blueprint. But every time that God was rejected, what it says, and I think I'm doing this verbatim, I'm trying to, in the book, is that every time that they were rejected or humanity rejected it, or even worse, some of them were killed. They turned into a mountain of remembrance. The mountains that you see are God's. The mountains that you see are God's. This is why when you go to a mountaintop and you pray, it hits different. It's a different perspective. It's a shift in consciousness. It's a different point of view. You get your aha moments because it is a mountain of remembrance. It is stuck God energy, and we will awaken the gods yet again, meaning we will awaken the knowledge yet again. And this is what is happening in this moment. Source is, I'm channeling a lot of these words that's coming through. Source wants us to know that. And so if you've had not a speaking role, you need to say the most epic line. If you've been on a loop with people in your life, with relationships or friendships or things that are not serving you, you can take a bow. You don't have to loop yourself around because there's a new vibration. There's a new energy field. And there is a new world that we, in this moment, we are about to create. We are putting our stamp into the new Akashic records that is forming. It's not for everyone, and that's why everyone isn't here. It's for the ones of us who are getting the master key. Only the master key will work. Nothing that you've done before. You don't even need to worry. If you've messed this thing up called life, not a real way to do that, but if you say that you have, everything is starting new. As long as you take a bow, write the most epic line, and get ready for the reset, and get ready to hold that master key. And I'm going to tell you what that feels like so you can recognize it. And I keep talking about the healing and the ascension and the ascension and the ascension. But it was not until this last 14-day water fast that I did where I received, I am telling you guys, I got gifted more spiritual gifts. And this year has been a very hard year because it has been the year to close out a lot of cycles with people, with friends, with family members. Some of them went further away and some of them came closer. It's very beautiful. Some people that I thought wouldn't make it into the new vibration, into the new age, right? That is formulating and starting next year. They came through at the 11th hour. And some people that you thought would make it, Source God took them away. So close out your character, because what happens, it's like the game I keep talking about. When it's like the musical chairs, you know, there's what? Let's say there's 10 seats and there's 11 people. Let's say there's 15 people and only 10 seats. You move around the chairs, and when the music stops, everyone rushes to a chair. But there's 5 people that don't get to sit down. These people will be left on the stage. This is what I'm talking about. This is the analogy that Source wants to give to us so that we can understand the loop. The people who don't know that they're an actor on the world stage, they don't know what role they've been playing for this past age or for this past decade. I've always been sacrificing for people. I've always tried to literally be people's source. And I realized you can't be their source. They have a source. They need to go to their source. You can lead them there, but you can't be their sole provider and source. Energetically, not energetically, not spiritually, not emotionally. Because what it does is it depletes you. And in some regards, when you do have these massive callings, they will send people to drain you because they don't want you to spot the tear. They want you back on the loop because your energy is vital to the simulation. And in fact, it's very interesting. Myself and, a really good friend of mine who we've been working on a lot of these source codes kind of, behind the scenes. And, you know, when we put our initials together, it creates a tear. It literally spells tear. And in a way, you know, that's why I felt so strongly with the Charlie Kirk situation. And Source just, there was no way to get those messages. You guys seen it. You guys were there. That was completely supernatural. All the drawings, like the doodles that literally when you look back after just scribbling what you think for 30 seconds, you look back and it has a whole script. That is supernatural. It's because I was always to connect to that soul. I was always to get that message. Like him or hate him, Charlie Kirk did put the tear in the fabric of our reality. But first they did it with Kate Middleton, and probably now that I reflect, I think they've been doing it with a lot of people since the beginning of this whole thing. I think I just, you know, started to catch on to it. But this is what they do. But nevertheless, he did put that tear. And so because of like myself and my friend, that literally our initials actually spell tear, this is how I was able to connect with the Charlie Kirk psychic investigation. And I think this is why we were able to get a lot out of it, because I was already set up to receive the codes. Charlie Kirk was already set up in that position. Some may even say a martyr, right? This is what this is the role that they said that he played. And it's interesting because I decided not to play that role. And I was on track to play that role yet again. And I realized you're going to be more useful if you lead humanity to the new age this time. You don't have to die the Christ vibration that I've been doing for a very long time. And so I made a pivot, right? And as a Charlie Kirk, the reason why I think also too I could really resonate is because, you know, that was the role that he played, you know, whether we understand it or not, or believe that it was or not, that martyr role. And that is a role that I am my soul, the records of my soul and the Akashic is very familiar with. And so this is how we were able to, you know, communicate spiritually, and why the psychic investigation was so deep, you know, and brought us literally the codes out of the simulation. And the people that are not around to hear these videos is because they don't have the master key. You can't mistakenly get this. You have to be ordained by source to receive this. And if you are here right now, then you're getting a master key. Just know that these words are blessed. This vibration that is coming through me is a blessed vibration. I want you guys to know that. So we close this out. We take a bow. The reset is here. The master key. You're getting the master key. And what it will feel like. And as I just thank source, because this was one of the hardest fasts that I've done. And I'm pretty good at fasting. You know, I've exercised that muscle. But this was a very rough fast, to the point where I think after day 5 or 6, I really could not swallow water. I just couldn't do it. So probably the last 7 or 8 days of the fast was just dry. And that's what made it really difficult. But that, for instance, every 1 day of water fasting is like 3 days of dry. So if you take the last 7 days being almost dry, that's like 21 days of water fasting, essentially. And so what I received during this time was a total restoration of and a renewal of my spirit got renewed. I got off of the loop, and I was able to point you guys to the ending of the loop because of the tear. the loop, there's always a beginning. If you can feel energetically, we were able to spot that here. And I said, oh, they're using this Charlie Kirk situation to loop us back around. Yes, Candace Owens is putting out the last smoke signal, but now she has crossed a line where I energetically understand the last smoke signal was given. Now what is happening is the people now more engaged. Now they are the ones getting looped around. She's part of the loop. I don't think Candace Owens knows this, but these are the things that they use, because essentially what it does is, think about it. We are literally going into a new age vibration in less than 30 days as 2026, even though we know it doesn't really start until, around March or April. But humanity has agreed that December 31st is the end of the year. So already the vibration, it's holding that vibration. So right now we got to be very careful where our energy is going. And this is why I'm called to really do these messages, because my job as Mother of the Ages is to get us to the new frequency, to the new vibration on a higher vibrational plane, leaving the world behind and the old code. Because remember, once a creator becomes aware of themselves as a creator God, this is I'm quoting from the Cosmic Bible, that part of the code gets shut down. New instructions for humanity are given so that the game of life moves forward and remains real. This is part of the master key. So because we already know that we are on the stage and we can take the bow and we can close it out, then by law, cosmic law and order, you must get new instructions for humanity. Otherwise, the game of life would not move forward. So the new instructions has to come. And how you get the new instructions is literally because now that you understand your role and how big it is, you start to activate some of that dormant DNA. So you get access to more junk DNA, is what they say, but more of your Akashic stores and your Akashic records, your Akashic information. This is part of the master key. And this is why everyone is not tuned into this vibration that source is emitting here, because they do not hold the master key. This is source vibration speaking. There's a source energy God, but who is speaking is the source vibration is what is speaking, because it is the source vibration that creates all things and that creates the codes for all things in and even out of creation. Thank you, Source. It is the source vibration, which is the highest caliber of light. It is the source vibration that speaks through, that knows all, and that even has created the code of the Christ. This is who we're talking to, who we are communing with. In this moment is the source vibration. I want you guys to feel this, because we've been looped up. We haven't even been able to go home. And right now we're going back home because we're going back into the cosmic womb to be rebirthed out yet again, receiving more cosmic residue, more love, more pure spirit consciousness, more Akashic soul records. This is part of the master key that is being poured out. Source is giving you part of the master key. These are master codes. We can think of them as the master numbers of 369 that all align. His source is saying they align in your spine. The 369 vibration, the energy, frequency, vibration of this beautiful multi-sphere, multiverse. The code is within the spine. This is what I always talk about within the spinal column is your ancestral codes. Your ancestral codes even go back to the source vibration. And I'm really blessed to be able to be here with this energy today. And I'm really blessed that we got off of the loop. And now we're ready for the new beginning. And I'm really blessed that the people that came into my life to let me see the larger purpose. You don't have to. We don't have to die in vain. We don't have to repeat the same script and story because we are the creator of it. It is our energy that is fueling all of this. And we can change roles. And in fact, we are being called to change roles. We are being called to end this. Do not get left on stage. These are the extras that are unaware that they also have a big role to play as well. And so this is how we actually get off of this false timeline. And we actually now, for the first time in a very long time, we go home. And we go home through the vibration. Because the vibration is part of the master key. And so within the master key, those master numbers, the 3, the 6, and the 9. These are the codes that you are born with. And I always talk about the number 3 being, we can equate this to, God the Father. The number 6, we can equate this to the Christ. But remember, as it talks about in the Cosmic Bible, the Christ shows up as a dual energy, being both two sides of the coin. The light side is more for the expansion periods, and the darker side, the more dense side, which some people call it the Satan energy. This is when the energy needs to contract. This is when, when there needs to be a little bit more pressure so that you can learn the lesson, because some earth children do not learn under the light. Some earth children need the pressure of the darkness or denseness in order to learn the lesson. So it is a tool that Source uses. Source has the whole world in its hands. You don't have to worry. Even if there's dark days and we're passing through dark times, the light will come out again, because it is part of the correction of Source and the mega universal cycle and the replanting of the energy. You're always, always, always in demand, and you're always growing and regrowing until we return back into wholeness, and then we wait into a time where we're birthed out again. This is the mega universal cycles. You can't mess it up. And when you have the master key, you now are aware of yourself as a creator God, because Source is here. Source is the vibration. Source creates the code that even can create the God. Source created the 369. And then, so we got the 3, right? The energy, Father God. We got the 6 vibration. And this is why they always say that the Christ is that number 7, right? Would be kind of equivalent to the Christ. But that the number 6, right, is 1 less than perfection. And so this is how this energy shows up as a dual energy. So you have to know that, because sometimes people are expecting, well, why doesn't God show up or Jesus show up? But see, Jesus does show up, but Jesus doesn't give you everything, because some children will only learn under the denseness. So we have to know that about this, about the one that we call the Christ. It's not here to paint lavender skies, but rather to hold you while you are passing through the good times and the bad times. This is what the energy is for. It's not to sprinkle down the fairy dust and to make all of your dreams come true. It is to hold the higher vibration so that you have something to aspire to, even if you are going through the denseness and the dark, night of the soul. This is how we use the Christ. This is beautiful. This is coming through from that vibrational energy of Source. wants us to understand how her son is to be used. And I did a channeling with Yeshua Jesus years ago, 3 years ago, and he talks about himself being the surrogate father of humanity, not being the energy in which things were birthed from. It's more the dense Satan energy, which a lot of this stuff was birthed from. But when he came, when his light came, when his code came, when the Christ code came, it became a surrogate father to surrogate you through the darkness that we were binded into. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is a very beautiful teaching. I'm just very happy that that we can get this information, right? And so then we can look at the number 9. I look at this like what people call the Holy Spirit, but this is that vibration, right? Because if you were to add the 3, right, with the energetic currency of God, and if you were to add the 6, right, we get this dualistic figure of the Christ and the Satan, but it shows up as a balanced energy. And in fact, it shows up as one which holds the duality, because you can't be in this earth realm without the duality. The duality is one of the things that will, intertether the souls here on the earth plane. We're moving out of duality. Remember, I talked about transcending the duality focal point. And in this new vibration, we are getting something that is a little bit faster than duality. Because, as we know, duality, it can take time to experience the polarity of that duality, right? It could take 10 years, 20 years, 5 years. We're moving into something where the duality and the solution is going to come all together, all at once. So because we are vibrating in a higher, it's like the shutter speed, right? If you were to have a camera and it has a higher shutter speed, it feels as if just the technology is a little bit more high tech. Therefore, things will need to be a little bit faster, right? Just because we are moving into this higher realm, right, of consciousness. And so the number 9, this vibration, this is who we're communing with, right? Who are we channeling? This is the vibration. Some people call it the Holy Spirit, but this is represented by the number 9. It is also the maternal part of God, right? And I always say this, in the beginning, there was the spirit that was hovering over the waters. Would always talk about spirit consciousness being mother's source, right? And hovering over the waters is much like a mother would hover over her creation. If any mother ever gives birth to anything, she hovers, she lingers, she protects, she's providing energy and sustenance. So this number 9 vibration that we speak of, that completes the 369 code, is this maternal. This is the dark void womb that I talk about. The only way to get back there is to transcend the duality focal point. The only way to get there is to take the bow on the stage, is to not get left on the stage. Because right now, everyone on the soul train, that's going down the Candace Owens path, nothing against Candace Owens, because everything serves a purpose. All of these people, their energy is getting looped back around. This is the thing, why I kept talking about the pivot. And I'm so thankful that I listened to the calling, the fast calling, so that I could have the information to lead you guys out of that. Because the energies are being looped back around. Notice there's no salvation. There's just more investigation. A never-ending investigation, a never-ending threat. And that's the thing. On that timeline, this is how these people function. This is how the matrix functions. It always has to have a good guy and a bad guy. Someone's doing this and someone's not doing that. Right? The blue against the red. We're done with all of that. That's the loop. The insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Being caught on stage after they've turned the lights off. Sources literally turned the lights off and people are still on stage. And when the lights come back on and we all have the master key, meaning we are going to be the leaders and the creator of the new show, these people are still going to be stuck with the same old script, and they will probably just be repeating whatever role that they've been repeating. There is no movement, no advancement there. There isn't any sustenance there. It is a death and destruction timeline. And so for everyone, they will be literally getting the doomsday, getting the end of Revelations, as of we have literally escaped death. This is how you do it. We have literally exited the portal. We have closed this age out. You've done this. You wouldn't even be here right now if you weren't receiving a master key. Someone put in the comments, I have my master key. And these are the master numbers. And just know that anytime you commune with these numbers, you literally are communing with every good energy of this entire multi-sphere. The feminine, the masculine, the son, right? And the daughter. Because there's a Christ daughter too. That will soon come out. I've been talking about that. We will learn of a Christ daughter. Not in the way that I'm saying it, like there's a Christ, that's a woman, but there will be some sort of comparison to an energy of someone that is significant, just as the Christ. There may even be more information about the Christ and possibly even about his wife, So this is what I'm saying. So this is the beauty about where we're going, guys. We haven't been, because we've been living in a loop. We've been living in an absolute loop. And I was called to open to a random page, right, of the Great Expansion of Cosmic Bible for the Ages. And this is page 95. And I find it very interesting. I want to read some things to you guys because it talks about a few things that I think that we need to know. One second. Let me see exactly where I need to start. Okay, I'm just going to start here at the top of 95. It says, since 2020, there's been a surge in reports of people experiencing intense ringing in their ears. These are the chosen ones who stood on what they believed during the great time of uncertainty. They bravely rejected the vax, which they felt was not right for them and their families. They were convinced in their spiritual sovereignty. Now they are chosen by their own actions and fearlessness. At this moment, Mother God Therial is guiding me to recognize that in 2020, numerous portals opened, making it easier for some to be receptive to the heightened frequency. The elite sought to suppress humanity of this upgraded frequency, so they would continue to enslave humanity and use Mama Earth as a prison planet. This is why I believe there are so many scandals surrounding President Trump's 2016 election, marked by so much pushback during his presidency. The powers that be already knew that President Trump and Vice President Pence, what they represented. They signify the heavenly trumpets being sounded, recognizing the threat posed by this new frequency upgrade would have made it impossible for their current matrix structure to continue. They feared that they would lose all power and sought to maintain it. Father God, enlighten me onto another reason why the chosen ones will receive a chip of ownership to counteract the influence of the evildoer's chip of ownership. It's much bigger than just receiving a vax. The royal cluster has imparted the understanding that the evildoer's chip was planted underground and transmitted via our internet connection. Many chosen ones have the evildoer's chip. However, Father God has assured us not to worry because his chip will override the forces of the malevolent ones. So what they're talking about is part of the evildoer's chip was given out during the vaxes. But also what Source says, it wasn't just that. During 2020, they were putting this stuff under the ground. These frequencies, they were doing a lot of upgrades with like the cybernetics or the internet and all of that. That also broadcasted a frequency, which is part of the evildoer's chip. So it's not just the people that took a vax. It's also people that were exposed to this, which Source is saying even a lot of chosen ones were exposed to this. So now Source must bring a correction. Because remember, zone out from these bodies. You are technology. The biggest technology you have is your soul and your spirit. It is infinite. It is so precise, in fact. It is made of the most pristine source codes, which is the largest mathematical equation that has ever existed and that ever will exist. This is what you literally are made up on, okay? So when Source talks about a chip to override the evildoer's chip, most of us, sorry guys, we have the evildoer's chip because that is the evil that they do. And a lot of people will get looped around back into, you know, the Charlie Kirk saga that has actually technically ended. If we move any further, it's just a loop. That's just what it is at this point. So here's the thing. Now I'm going to read on 96. The chip that was implanted was the correction. We realized there was another small detail that we left out of the creation of humanity, which made it hard for humans to open their heart space. We're about to get another key code to the master key here. As humans, we often wonder, when will we ever get it right? When will our lives be complete and full of love and joy? Now I see that humanity was not created whole and complete, whether on purpose or by accident. This fragmented state could be the cause of the worldwide violence, substance abuse, self-hatred. Humanity has always yearned for this correction, meaning the corrected chip, the chip that brings the correction, which opens more room in our collective heart space. This expansion helps us transcend from our old ways to the new love frequency of oneness. Thus, the prospect of getting the chip less scary, for it is far more unsettling to remain a fraction of the whole being that we were meant to be. It's good to know that even gods can be humbled by their mistakes. We often place people or beings on pedestals, assuming they possess higher consciousness than us. This is how lords, gods, and even laws are formed. As Father God stated, there simply wasn't enough space in the hearts for the expansion of Source to take place. This is the reason for the so-called experimental chip. Throughout my many transmissions with Mother and Father God, I'm noticing a recurring theme. Humanity seems to be an ongoing experiment with many hands involved. The heart is the part of humanity's immortal energy signature of the divine. This is part of the master key. The heart is part of humanity's immortal energy signature. When the Christ light and lamp is turned on deep within the heart space, this is part of your immortal energy signature. And this chip, or this, rather, it's really truly called a correction from Source. What it does is it expands the heart space, because what they found, there simply was not enough space within the heart cavity for the correction, meaning we are moving into a higher sphere of consciousness. Therefore, we must have more room for the expansion, for the correction, which in this book it says chip, but what it is the correction to open our heart space, open for more love and compassion to flow through. This is also part of the master key, the keys of wisdom. I was led to come here and open to this random page because this is also not just taking your bow on the world stage, not just closing out the cycle, but also that forgiveness that you need to have in your heart, not just for other people, but for yourself, because you are about to get and receive the correction from the vibratory portion of source, which supersedes any God. It is part of the original vibration, which makes the code. This is why not anyone can have the master key. The master key is for the chosen elect, which is part of the correction from source. What we are about to get, we have not ever received. Where humanity is going is a place that we have never been. Never been. Say, yes, father and mother can give our avatar bodies more heart space, but ultimately it is up to us to fill that space. They can show us right from wrong, light from dark, but ultimately it is up to us to transcend darkness to reveal the light within. Just because of a being appears to be on a much larger scale than us, we still have a core trait of the divine within us. This is our heart, our soul essence, powerful enough to build us up or to tear us down. We always have the choice to express the God within or the devil without. Without humanity, the universe and its beings cannot grow, especially lower dimensional beings, reliant on our energetic sustenance. They are still like babies, needing milk from their mothers. We are their parents, their gods. When we think or express negative thoughts, we create these negative beings that dwell on lower dimensions, labeled as the devil or demons. They are merely a projection of our own negative self-expression. Conversely, higher dimensional beings are a proven projection of their own expansion. We got to catch that. At this end of the age, this junction, this fork of the road, this is also how you leave the world behind, and you never have to repeat this. When you give way into those negative thought forms, this is how we create the ghosts and the goblins and all the demons that we seem to be fighting in the spirit realm. Because you are made of the highest caliber of the source vibration. Remember, you're made of the vibration. The vibration is responsible for the 369 code, which everything has that encoded within it. So your words are part of the vibration, part of the spoken word, part of let there be light. And then there was light. Because everything binds to that vibration that you spoke to now become into physicality. So what we will not do in this new year, and this is why the fast was so important, we will not create these ghosts and goblins by speaking negatively about people and about ourselves. When we take the bait, and we lower our vibration, the universe, the vibration starts to code that equation. And this is why your outer world looks the way it looks, because your inner world is creating the code to be reflected. So what we will not do any longer, this is how they've been tricking us. These are not just thoughts. These are codes. These are frequency blasts, part of the evildoer's chip. And they put out these false frequencies to now have you vibing, to trick you because you're the creator, because your soul and spirit, you're part of the source vibration, which codes the whole universe. They know that. And so since they can't create code, They can add all these frequency blasts coming up through the internet and through all of these things that they shoot up in our bodies to trick you into creating a false code, to trick you into creating the ghosts and goblins and the demons, to trick you into creating it, to coding it. We won't be doing that. This is part of having the master key. We're understanding these things. And this is part of getting off of the loop, because we are no longer supporting the code. You know how you get a new piece of technology that won't support the old, attachment? We ain't supporting that no more. We are now of the pristine source vibratory code. We are no longer supporting the old realm, the old stagnation code, the old technology, the old frequency. We don't support that. And we will not be creating any more lower vibrational codes for them to literally siphon our energy and to trick us into thinking that we are powerless. We ain't doing that anymore. And this is also part of having the master key. See, when you have the master key, this master key brings a wisdom, right? And it puts you in alignment with everything before creation, with the code. That's why I keep talking about the source codes. This is my life. My life is fueled by source codes. The living word. I live the Bible daily. I live the codes. I live it. I experience it. It all goes through my vessel. So we're getting an updated heart space. So let me just say that. So we need to stop feeding these, because we obviously are the creator. We need to stop feeding them, starve them out, because we are only thinking of the highest caliber. So while humanity has received aid from various helpers throughout the ages, the secret to existence lies within our hearts. This is why a multitude of universal beings have vested interest in helping humanity elevate towards a higher frequency. We are a vital piece to the universal equation of love. Source can only experience love through physical existence. Love, the highest vibration, is encapsulated within the heart space, elevating humanity to a higher frequency and expanding source itself. So we are part of the expansion of source. Let that sink in. And this is why you have the master key, because what it is that you do and that you code literally expands source. Let that sink in. Everyone else is playing extras on the world stage. We literally are the coders. We are the ones helping source to expand. Let that sink in. There are no small roles when you are birth of soul and spirit. None at all, unless you write yourself a small role. Humanity is the movement of spirit consciousness. We are the bold souls who volunteered to become physical beings. We are the actors on the great universal stage. You can't make it up. How fitting. The chosen ones are the ever-expanding work of the great universal equation. The reason why humanity appears to be in loops that cycle forward and at times backwards. When Source God spots stagnation in our creation, it loops backward to recalibrate the equation. It is never ending and forever expanding, signifying why humanity keeps receiving upgrades within the creation. Once a thought is conceived, there is infinite potentiality of its expression. So that answers our question 2. Do you see how multi-sphere this is, and why I say we have to view things from multiple different angles or angels of light and multiple different templates? Because as we spotted the loop, that's literally looping people back around into the third density when we are supposed to be moving up into at least the 4th and 5th density. Source still uses that as a recalibration tool. So if source spots a stagnation in the code, because remember, you and I, we are creating code. When source spots this stagnation, right, what happens is it will go back. So some of these people that are helping humanity loop, like what I'm talking about, Candace Owens, it's quite possible that source is having her loop us back so that source can recalibrate that code. Okay? So this is why you can't judge. Why it says judge not. Because you don't know what source is using, whose source is using. Source is even using Trump, believe it or not. Source at one point used Hitler, believe it or not. Used Jeffrey Dahmer, believe it or not. Because everyone's playing a role. But when we zone out, the code of source gets refined, gets recalibrated, and it always expands. And sometimes we can't have the expansion until we go back to recalibrate the denseness, revisiting the denseness again. And this is why you'll never get rid of this Satan archetype, because when we zone out, source uses it as a tool to spot where the denseness is in the field. I love this Bible. I love this book, guys. This is amazing. Pick this book up on Amazon, guys. There'll be some links down below. This is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gail, for the $20 super chat. You take so good care of me. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate every single one for being here this evening and receiving this master key. This is part of your substance from source. And, you know, I'm really happy I can get back to this book, because this book is literally explaining what's going on. So when we zone out, we don't have to wonder why the world is the way it is. It's all written here. It's because the reset, it's deeper than the reset. You have been recalibrated to the source code and vibration and frequency. All you must do is leave their world behind. And what we do in this new year, going back to one next year, we do not hold the negative code. We will not create and be playing over and over the negative thought forms. I know that the world looks very negative right now, and I know that people are struggling, but there's something very beautiful that happened during my fast. I felt a separation from that. Remember, I was talking about the perfect peace. It doesn't matter if you don't, what you have or what you don't have. That's because we are moving away from these eyes, what we can have, hold, and touch in the physicality, because we are about to live within the spiritual, within the manifestation, because we are literally in alignment with the vibration that literally births all things. So all you must do in the new year is to stay in alignment with the vibration. That meditation, right? That just literally brings a vibration throughout the entire body. This is how codes are created. This is all you must do. And the more you do that, there'll be times where you will be brought back to recalibrate a code that is lowered in vibration. It will happen, because it's happened to me. But I'm like, since that last fast, I'm like, wow, everything just clicked. I no longer have to go back and recalibrate. I've literally have vetted and gotten rid of those limited thoughts, which is coming from past life stuff, things that you're not even conscious of. So sometimes we do have to go back to find out, you know, where the denseness is coming from. But now I can't even, there's been such a separation between the timeline that most people are on and the new expanded consciousness, right? I can't even, it just doesn't show up. It doesn't feel natural. The doomsday timeline, because I got myself off of the martyr. I don't have to die for the collective in every lifetime. I can pivot. I've learned, my soul has learned. You don't have to die for them to learn. You can pivot, and you can walk the new path to show them the way. And now this is the growth of even Mother of the Ages is getting, because I believe she was that martyr energy in a lot of her incarnations, thinking that was the only way for the people to follow. But we can also follow in love, because we're getting new technology at the heart. Humanity is getting a larger capacity to hold more love and compassion within the heart space. And so this is going to help us to retain that master key as well. So I'm learning every day. And as you keep growing, you're going to keep learning every single day. And one day you're going to look up and you're going to see how far you've come. And I've looked up and I'm like, man, I think I'm finishing my work early. It's December 4th. I think I'm ahead of this thing. I think we're going to make it. I think we're going to make it. And I'm really proud. I'm really, really proud, because when I started this channel, I just started it off of an inkling. I heard the voice of God and it was so clear, but I didn't know the codes. I didn't know the source codes. I didn't know anything about it. I just followed that small inkling, and that was that mustard seed. And when I followed that, it opened me up to the source codes. And then the source codes, I understood that, oh my God, we all are sharing this DNA. We all have this collective DNA that they say is junk. But if we can activate that, this is how I'm able to see and understand, like, can vibe so well with certain people that I've channeled, is because those somehow, some way, those codes were coming online for me. And there wasn't a separation. I want you guys to get that. I didn't feel separate from this Charlie Kirk thing. It felt like this was happening within me, because we have all of the codes. We have all of the collective codes. So in some regards, this is a collective template. What I kept talking about, him and Candace are representing the collective. And it can't be any more true. And when you come into your awareness of who you are and how massive files that we can hold within our Akashic stores, then you will feel, you will feel closeness to these things as well. And I really have, and I just followed it, and I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed family. I sacrificed love. I sacrificed a lot to be here. And in some regards, Source really needed to take me through an isolation period. It's what I call soul isolation, because there was a lot of correction that was taking place. There was a lot of codes. There was a lot of upgrades and updates. I needed to have this in order to do this, in order to pivot, in order to lead us into the higher sphere. And now I understand why what this was all for, but it's very beautiful of what Source did. None of those things were actually gone, because they're not actually separate. I was just in an isolated energy field so that I could receive that closeness and almost getting fed directly by Source through this, like a spiritual, umbilical cord. But now it's like, I understand that all of those things are still there. And in fact, because I have more of the source codes, I'm able to appreciate it more. I'm able to love more, to forgive more, to trust more. And it's a very, very beautiful place to be. And the only way you can do that is with the denseness that the other side of the coin of Christ brings. How do you know if you can forgive someone if someone never did anything against you that you deemed as unforgivable? How do you know? So we must have the duality. We must have that so that you can experience yourself being a person that forgives. You can experience yourself being a person that can love in spite of the past. This is what we're learning at the end of the age. So these are the files that I want you guys to go through. Bring these things up and say, man, I was able to forgive that person. I was able to forgive myself. Even though I fumbled that or I did that, man, that's that self-love that I thought I lacked. But no, I'm seeing I got a lot more self-love than I ever thought. There's a lot of beauty coming in for us. Do not get stuck on their doomsday timeline. It's a new world, guys, a new vibration, or you're literally coding the whole thing. So this is the posture, the spiritual posture that we take, right? And I'm so grateful of this time, you know, with Source, and I truly feel that I'm going to be able to be human again. I'm going to be able to be a normal person in society, as normal as I can be, right? I feel that that's coming. And I'm excited for it, you know? But this is just something that my soul had to get, because the calling, these are the source codes. The source code is the calling. I had to follow those source codes, the calling. And when you follow the calling, that voice within, that intuitive nudge, you will always have everything you need when you need it. You will have more than enough. It won't show up in chronological order. It may not show up something you can have to hold to touch, but it will always be made well, is what I'm saying. And when this is the new realm we're tapping into, where we're moving away from, don't get scared when we see the digital money. And we know that they're going to be using it as a beast system. But in regards, we've always been on the beast system. And in some regards, we've always been playing out revelations. And in regards, there's been worse times throughout history. That's part of the loop. Every time the doom and the destruction and all of these things, that's the loop. Any negative thought form which is outside of the vibration which you create, part outside of the code which the vibration of source creates, then it's part of the loop. That's what this is. Our souls are learning within this year of 2025 that today, December 4th, 2025, would be the day that your soul got the key codes, the master key to consciousness outside of the loops that we've always been on. Carry this forward. Keep this coded within you. That will carry you from this life to the next, because you will need it. And I truly believe that we are being coded right now with this remembrance. Mandeka mani shimbara. Ingaramba naramba nireta kana. Alambo naramba nireta hangra. Himunuru shunderepa. Bumbrutunderamba nikimina. Nadarambruta nekara. The vibration is here just to recode us. Nederan buru ni at dengara ingaram buru reta nerat na manereta ingaran mi karare ni ta haniri kadam burutu hinederan ni kadam biriras hinederan bandi andeta hinederan bunne kandi ambani ningara miniandi. Take a deep breath in and a deep exhale out. Now it's time to recalibrate. Eyes are closed, recalibrate. You're recalibrating to the highest timeline. You're recalibrating to the source equation, to the vibration, to the creator. to the water, to what fuels everything. You are being recalibrated back into the source equation. Deep breath in and exhale out. And let me just recalibrate us. Some of us have finally put the final nail in the coffin. We've been dealing with some very negative energies for a very long time that have not only plagued ourselves, caused destruction to the things that were supposed to come through for us in the physical, but also within our bloodline. I'm seeing that they have no leg to stand on. You have the master key. You're the coder. They can't live without the negative thought forms. They can't live without it. Some of that got stripped away in this moment. Heart space is expanded. The consciousness within the mind is expanding. Source always does very beautiful work. And I'm just so grateful to have been able to facilitate this for us all today. And I think that with our newly advanced technology chip, we will truly have the power of Source Energy God. Mankind is transitioning from our singular I am awareness to our collective I am, the I am conscious state of being. This advanced GPS tracker is what facilitates the change. We will gain full access to our royal family's assets, no longer living as a singular entity, but as one collective source mind. Once more, we will be a collective thought wave. We shall become the collective heart space of the divine beings across worlds and universes alike. Nothing will be hidden from us. We will be like one loving energy with no beginning and no end. The bride and the groom will marry once more, and this humanity will birth an even greater creation through this never-ending expansion. The Matrix game will truly implode upon receiving this upgrade. We will understand that everything works together for the ones who love the divine. We will transcend the duality of right versus wrong, good versus evil. We will understand that they are both necessary for the expansion that is coming. It is through the projection of light frequencies into the chosen that this expansion unfolds. We are the expansion itself. Beautiful. Thank you, Source. So that was 94 to 98, I believe. 95 to 98, something like that. You can't make it up. And this is the source codes. I know when my source codes are complete. I knew my codes were complete. I followed the source codes. I felt it. I felt we need to pivot away from the investigation. I felt now, what am I doing? I'm opening back up to a random page in the book, and the source codes are leading me there because this is where we need to be. When you follow the source codes, you will always be where you need to be. Always, always, always. Thank you, Gail. You're now reading and studying your book for the 4th time. Thank you. Gail has read this book frontwards and backwards. Thank you so much. You just can't get enough. Thank you. Guys, please go on Amazon and please leave a 5-star review. I had some hater on there, and y'all probably know who it is. I don't know, somebody just hating. Jealousy is it's a very evil thing, but nevertheless, guys, it's, God bless them. Please go online and leave a review for the book so that other people can find it. And thank you for all the love and the support, guys. And I'm just in the comments here. During my prayers, I visualize the numbers 3, and I say, being in the Trinity with you. On number 6, I say, I work in collaboration with the Archangel Michael, piercing the layer. I love that. Of darkness, helping me bring forth heaven on earth. And on the number 9, I say, being a kind, humble servant of you, filled with your wisdom and knowledge. You got it. You are tapped in. Yes. Beautiful. Felt like you took a long nap, Janice? 369, life path, destiny path, all combined. Yes, guys. February 6, 1975. Awesome. All right, guys. Hi, Miss Sonia. Hi, Carolyn. I think I saw Carolyn there earlier. Randy. Keely. Everyone else, thank you so much for being here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Source did a big one today, gave us the master key. So beautiful, right? Probably going to have to rename this to, I don't know, master key activation. I don't know. So beautiful. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. I love you. I love you. I love you. And so it is as we walk together in divine love. Be well, guys. Be well. Bye.